Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on our broadcast today. I'm so pleased. I'm going to be chatting with somebody I met years ago. We were just figuring this out, actually. A gentleman called Brendan Kenny, who I met at BET, that many of you will know, down in London. It's down to us. It's not down for you, is it, Brendan?
Train journey for me.
Yeah. Back in 2015, we figured it out, didn't we? Where
I actually think it was a little earlier. I think I actually thought about this. I think it was January 2014.
Oh wow, the year before. Gosh, okay, so that's a little while ago, isn't it? I mean, Learning Wall, which we're going to be chatting about today, was something we created in partnership with a high school to make accessing all the kit that you use, online stuff, resources, whether that's online apps, whether that's PDFs or whatever, could be anything, make it an easy way to get access to that stuff. So it was like a learning gateway, we called it. And I don't know if it's an overstretch to say that maybe it was a little bit ahead of its time, but you were one of the early adopters, and only a small number of schools actually used it. But I know that you found it to be useful. And right now, with everything going on, where everybody's working from home, studying from home, it's had something of a bit of a resurgence. And while it was a paid product, it's something that we're giving away, certainly at the minute. So, Brendan, thanks so much for joining us for this chat.
Happy to be here.
It's really good to have you here with us. Why don't you just, if it's all right, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role is in school. That'd just be really helpful to frame everything.
Okay. I moved over to the UK in summer 2013, and I took up a head of ICT position in an independent school in London. And one of the first things I did when I arrived was I knew I was going to be doing everything on the web. I didn't want to be doing anything on the machines. I wanted to do everything web-based, because there's so many useful applications, even for coding, all kinds of programming that you can do through the web. So I wanted a quick and easy way to be able to access these, because I only have 35-minute lessons, and I didn't want kids messing around with trying to type in a URL or getting everything wrong and going around trying to correct it. I wanted just something to click on, and they would go straight to where I wanted them to go on a regular basis, and have it available to them at home. So I wanted something that they could see on their homepage in school and would be available to them as soon as they go home. So my first job was to create, what I actually did when I arrived was I created a blogger blog.
Okay.
Because I didn't know about Learning Wall. So this could have been September, October 2013. I created this really, really basic looking blogger, and it had all my links. It didn't look a bit pretty, and it was just the upkeep of it probably took too much time. So I met you at BET, explained the concept of Learning Wall, and I just thought that's exactly what I want. And I think you had a prototype there that I was able to see, and I could see that it was far more colorful. It was all image based, so there was no text. There was no such thing as a link of text. You just a picture. You click on that straight through, and it like I said already, it just looked good. So we set it up, and I never looked back after that. It's my go-to every single lesson that kids log in, come into my room, log in, straight, open Chrome or whatever browser, and
others available.
Yes, and that's their homepage. So the homepage on every machine is that. And so what I was able to do then was very quickly I realized that I was going to be using this for a long time. So I went and got myself a really basic domain name. So I just got mrkenny.co.uk, and I attached the Learning Wall to that. So the kids, when they go home, they had a really simple address to remember. Just go mrkenny.co.uk, and they had the very same Learning Wall at home.
That's really cool. Okay, so you've got a Learning Wall that you use in class, and that's the first thing that they see when they go into class. Everybody gets straight in there, and it's this. Are you saying is the same thing that students will see at home as well?
Literally, that's the beauty of doing everything web-based, because no matter what browser, whatever, it just looks the same. So again, I would recommend to kids try and use the same browser at home. But again, they're so used to now because it's such an easy thing to type in. Or even what actually happened was I was using it so much that all they had to do was put in Mr. Kenny's ICT as a search, and that's the first thing that came up.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So it was actually, so it didn't matter whether they put in the URL, the domain name, or just did a search, and it just meant they had instant access. So if there was something we were doing in school that they enjoyed, or something that, because we don't set homework in computing, but
Okay.
lots of kids that naturally just, it's their thing, so they were able to go home, log in straight away, and off they go.
Okay. What have you found any issues, or those kids that maybe don't have access to stuff you might want them to have access to? Does this still work quite well for those kids? How do you kind of navigate that?
Well, what I found as well, that I've filled up my learning wall with things that so they have a huge choice. So even so, we said there's some sites that maybe I would only give access to kids that have displayed enough initiative or interest, or that maybe they have enough proficiency, and then so they have access to maybe some sites. But then there's loads of other sites that they don't need, we'd say, premium access. So I just put everything on the learning wall, and it means that there's an option there for everybody. And I suppose from a differentiation point of view, that helps as well, because nothing is laid out as this is for this level of ability, this is for this level of ability, this is for this. Everything is just there in this big colorful wall, different size blocks. There's no sense of a hierarchy whatsoever. It's just there, available. And they become so used to finding it. So if they're going to the same thing regularly, they just know how far to scroll down and just click and off they go.
That's cool. That's really good. So do you update that quite a lot? Is it evolving, or is it something that's just pretty static once you've done it?
I think in the first year or two, it was constantly evolving. I was constantly changing on the layout of it. And it's lovely, because what I really, really loved about it originally was that you could just drag the blocks around. There was no such thing as, there was no big effort. It's so simple to put it together. Just
That's
simply
cool.
New app, give it a name, get an image, and then put in the URL and done. That's it. And then within the space, you could just drag the blocks around. So if there was something that you really need, that you started using a lot, that was way down the wall, you could just drag it up to the top very simply, and it was really useful.
Okay, and the feedback on that from the students, from your
it might have been on if I added a new app because we were starting something new that I'd come across, and I might just add it to the wall, and suddenly we're using it an awful lot more. Then I might just drag it up. But again, it was so easy to do it that it didn't matter.
That's cool. What kind of stuff have you got on there then? Are you using it for anything other than putting those blocks of images in? Are you embedding anything in there as well?
I'm not, but actually funny you say that, because when the closure began a few weeks ago, a colleague came to me and wanted, he was a music teacher, so he wanted some way to be able to give kids easy access to music creation sites. So we put together a learning wall for him, and within that he has embedded YouTube videos.
Okay.
In the blocks, instead of actually being links to something, they're actually just they're miniature YouTube videos that they can be opened in the full YouTube experience, or they can be just watched there in the wall. So
that's cool. That
works really well.
Yeah, and we've just done just as an aside, we've just done an update on that, because before you would have to take the actual, the embed code, so you would copy and paste that in. We've tweaked it now so that you just literally put the YouTube link in, and Learning Wall will do the rest of the work for you. So it's even easier to do that now as well. So that's hopefully quite cool.
Yeah.
What about stuff that you'd love to see on it? Is there anything that you think that you would like us to do with it?
There's one
Don't
thing.
throw anything too crazy at me.
I won't. The one thing, I suppose, the one thing I'd love to see, if it was possible, would be, because the blocks are uniform size. So you've got a 150 times 150 pixel block and a 300 times 300 and 150 times 310. Is that when you found an appropriate image to put in them, every now and then you'd have to try. Ideally, you'd have to find square images, which most sites will have. If I take a site like, there's a great music site called Incredibox.com. Okay. If you do a search for that, you'll find a square icon, which is great. But just say I wanted to do a 150 by 310, like the longer block that looks more rectangular. Sometimes it takes a bit of manipulation to make the image work, because if you just copy the image, if you just download an image and then use that, sometimes it distorts it if it's not the correct what you might call I don't
Yeah,
care.
the aspect ratio.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So if there was I don't know, that's the only thing. But I actually really enjoyed doing that. I really enjoyed as well, just the geek in me, just taking an image and then manipulating it in Microsoft Paint to make it. So in Microsoft Paint, I would constantly be making little canvases, 310 by 150, put my image into that, and then just that's the way I do it. Really simple, but
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's a really good tip. Just so you know, what we're working on is there's 2 biggies that we're working on. Brendan, I think you'll like them. We're doing 2 things. One of them is when you upload your image, you'll be able to crop it.
That's cool. Yeah.
So just fixes that problem. And the other one is, and I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's something that we've integrated into our website software a little bit as well, which is Canva, which is a really, really nice free online design tool. So that when you now create a tile, we actually have to get permission from Canva to do this. So we're working on that. We've got it in our website system. We just need permission from them to do it in Learning Wall as well. But what that means is when you add a new resource or a new app in there, and you instead of uploading an image, you can click Create with Canva, and you can design anything you want to put in there as well. And if you know Canva, you get some amazing stuff to do. It just makes it
Canva is only a go-to product even for creating I suppose products for Twitter or Instagram, like header photos and things like that. Like that's really cool. Canva's really easy to use as well.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That could actually really make it even better, because that's the only thing is up to now the images there was just that little extra work, but this sounds like it's going to make it actually so much easier to create really attractive blocks.
Yeah. No, it's which is the whole point of doing it. We wanted to do it for ages, but stuff takes over, doesn't it? So it's there, it's ready to go. We can flick a switch as soon as we get permission from Canva. So I might send them this video and go, "Come on, hurry up!" Yeah, come on.
I'd be straight in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Straight in there. Yeah, it's cool. Thanks, Brendan. That's amazing. What about just because we're thinking about it right now, I know people will maybe watch this further down the line, but right now we're obviously kind of everybody's locked down. From a home learning point of view, have you any thoughts specifically on how Learning Wall really supports that right now?
Yeah, like as soon as like I said, well, I had that music teacher that needed a quick way to be able to put together resources that were easily accessible. But the school itself even did. The school asked a colleague and I to put together a very simple, I suppose, lobby, like a lobby page. Okay. You had another word for it a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Kind of call it a gateway. Yeah.
Yeah, a gateway, absolutely. Yeah. So that was clearly distinct from the school website. That showed, I suppose, this is what we're doing. This is our provision for remote learning. So we just again got a very simple domain name, and then put together a very simple Learning Wall, all the small blocks, and so where parents could easily know where to go, and everything they would possibly need was there. So they weren't going to the school website, they were going to this new, I suppose, very focused webpage for everything they need for their child.
How long did that take to put together? Do you mind me asking?
I think we were, to be honest, we were fairly dab hands at this now, so it didn't take long to put together. And the great thing about it was, we were able to add to it so easily. I suppose I could probably even show it here if I wanted. I could probably just show you what it looks like.
Yeah,
I can do that.
That'd be amazing. Go on, show it. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, while Brendan figures that out, folks, you should be able to see a link, which is Scoodio.com/the-learning-wall. Or if you go to thelearningwall.co.uk, there's a sign up button on your screen that you can see there. Learning Wall's free, so there's no cost for it. Have you got that there, Brendan?
Not just yet. I'm sorry. I'm just
no, that's fine. No, you take your time. Yeah, you take your time. So Learning Wall's completely free. It was a paid product. It might well become at some point again. But if you jump on that and you sign up for it now, you won't ever pay anything for it, because it's obviously something that we just want to try and make available for people to be just some small help. If you go to Scoodio.tv as well, there is a course, really short, really short course on how to use Learning Wall and get started with it. And that might give you a good flavour Whether if you're umming and ahhing about whether it's the right thing for you at the minute, then that might be a good way of kind of seeing what it's like to live with. Here we go. Let's have a look.
Okay.
There you go. Got you.
So so like I suppose how many tiles are there? What, 15 tiles? This probably took 15 minutes to put together. 15-20 minutes a day. It's so easy to put together.
Okay.
And I suppose what's one of the great things about it is that if there are certain sites, like for instance BBC Bite Size, they've always been ready to go in the wall. You don't have to even create those blocks.
Yeah.
They used to come almost by default.
Yeah, so we've got a load in there. We call them our favourite resources or favourite apps, and you can drag those from your dashboard while you're building a wall straight into your wall. And we've actually just added a load more over the last couple of days as well, Brendan. So that's worth another look to see if there's.
Okay, cool.
We've done a little bit of work on. So one of my colleagues looked through every single one of our school websites. He was so pleased when we gave him that job. But every single one of our school websites and figured out what everybody was doing from a home learning point of view right at the minute. Yes. Made a big list of what all the resources and apps and tools and everything that people were using, and then created a long list. And then all the ones that are appearing lots, they've now been added into Learning Wall as well for you to use as favorite apps. So you don't need to find the image for those, just to hopefully make it a bit easier.
Yeah, and that I suppose that's the great thing. You can create a very, very comprehensive learning wall without actually creating any blocks of your own. Just choosing the ones that are already there.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, actually, well, if I may, I might even will I show my own learning wall just for a.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, let's have a look at it. Yeah, it'd be really good if you show us that. If you just talk us through, what some of the really popular ones are, because I know that some people are gonna see this and gonna go. You'll see. Everybody knows My Maths, for example, but maybe is there anything on there that is maybe a bit obscure?
I think for computing teachers, diagnostic questions, computing and maths teachers, diagnostic questions is amazing. Okay. It's an amazing bank of resources there. For anyone that's maybe teaching secondary level, so I teach an independent school, so we teach year 7 and 8. It's a prep school, but so I've gotten kids doing this. This is amazing. It's kind of like the Duke of Edinburgh Award, only for digital skills. Amazing, some amazing stuff in there. Again, a little bit advanced now, but again, it's brilliant for is for those kids that are really looking for a bit of enrichment and a little bit of an extra push. The Bebrez Challenge is amazing. I don't know if you've come across the Bebrez Challenge.
No, I've not.
Every October, November, it's a kind of a nationwide computational thinking challenge. I think I would love if every single school in the country was doing this, because it would mean that the results come back every year and would be, I suppose, it would always be like standardized testing for computing without any of the formality.
Wow.
But, a brilliant challenge.
That's really cool.
I've got so much more stuff there now that
it's huge, isn't it? You got tons of stuff on there.
And again, some of it I haven't. Some of it I don't know if I've ever used. But this was a brilliant one, actually. This one, you see the gear generator?
Yeah.
In the Bebrez Challenge this year, there was a question about what way gears would turn. If the first, it was said maybe 3 gears, and if the first one was turning this way, what way does the last one turn? So, not a lot of kids wouldn't have come across gears before. I don't know if you remember Meccano. I used to love Meccano, but not a lot of kids don't come across gears. So in the gear generator, you could actually create your own customized gears, and it's like an animation, and they had great fun with that.
That's really cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I might have a play with that. You can see. Can you see behind me here? That's my gigantic, great big Technics Land Rover.
Oh, really?
So I'm quite the nerd as well. Actually, my teenager has done that over the last couple of weeks, because I've not had a chance to do it since I got it for Christmas. So that's how you keep a teenager occupied in lockdown. You get them a ridiculously massive Technics kit. So I'd be all over the gear generator.
You know where you're going. But again, the beauty of that was there's no such app for the learning wall. So I just basically did a good. I suppose the way this happened was I saw the question, I looked up gear generator or gear animations in Google, found this site, then I can't even remember what I did. I think I just took the image up here. See this image of gear generator?
Yeah.
I did a snip of that, put it into Microsoft Paint, made it a square icon, saved it, and that was it.
Yeah, it's
So
super easy to do.
really, so simple, and the kids loved it. And it meant that, like, one thing I really don't like is bookmarks, because if you're like, I don't know if anyone's like me, but if I save a bookmark, like just tick that little star up there, in Chrome, and just save as bookmark,
Yeah.
suddenly you've got maybe hundreds of bookmarks. You never find anything. But the learning wall had that way of making it visual that bookmarks just couldn't do.
Yeah.
Like, I could have got my kids to save loads of bookmarks in their browsers, but it wouldn't look anything, and it would inevitably lead to disaster, kind of slow lessons, mistakes being made, deleting their bookmarks, whatever. Was the learning wall, the great thing is it's read only for them. They have no access to it.
No,
So,
and I suppose that makes it's just speeds everything up from your point of view, from a teacher.
I found it incredibly. Actually, I'm sorry now. I'm kind of making all these suggestions, but do you want me to?
Yeah, go on.
Do you want me to show you the I don't know what can you see at the moment? Sorry now.
I can see you.
Okay, so I'm
which
sorry.
Which is a treat.
Your poor audience. Well, I could just show you that music wall, because it has that embedded videos, and it just might to the way that worked.
Yeah, that'd be really good to see. Yeah.
Where's he gone? There we go. So this is it. So again, none of these, very few of these sites, if any of them, actually came with their own ready-made icons. So myself and my colleague just made these icons really fast.
Okay.
And so the YouTube videos are there embedded in the block, and it works a treat. It means that I can watch that video without ever leaving the site.
So if you click play now on one of those, just so we can see what happens when you do it. Yeah, so you can watch it in there, but you can make it full screen as well, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah. If I click on the actual link there,
yeah.
Well, then I've got my I can open it in the full YouTube experience. But
cool.
But again, I would say this: if anyone likes anything to do with music, this site is absolutely incredible.
That's cool.
It's actually called Incredibox, and it just is the most fun. That like whenever kids get any chance to do something, a little bit of free time, this is one of the go-to sites. Incredible, beautiful fun, great fun, and it has a great iPad app as well. Sorry, no, I'll just stop sharing my screen.
No, that's cool. So I've just put a link in there for that. So that's I've put in the chat. I've just put a link for that so you can see it. That's cool. So that's going to pop up hopefully on Facebook and YouTube as well while folks are watching this, but also in the live chat on here. So that's cool. Brendan, honestly, thank you so much. Folks, I hope that's been really helpful. If you've got any questions, then feel free to pop them up in chat right now, and we'll just spend a moment doing that. If there's anything helpful there to kind of chat through, just to say again, the Learning Wall it's completely free. Certainly in the minute. Bear with us because we're setting those up manually. So we will get your account up and running as quickly as we can. We are going to make it so you can just sign up and we don't need to jump in. But for the minute, we want to be a bit hands-on with it. So do get signed up for that and have a play. Come back to us with any questions. If you need help with things like, until we get the bit live where you can upload an image and crop it, etc. Come to us if you need any help with sorting any images out, and love to see what you do. Just as an aside, if you're on YouTube, do subscribe. So we're trying to do these live streams every couple of weeks or so. Still finding our feet with getting the momentum going on that, so bear with us on that as well. But do subscribe, and we'll keep you up to date with stuff. Brendan, thanks so much for your time today. That's been so helpful. I mean, from my point of view, Learning Wall was something that, like I said right at the beginning when we started chatting, that we created because we thought it was a pretty good idea, and it never really found its feet. And it's really nice for it to be being used by you guys so wonderfully, and for it to be something that is really helpful to people now while everybody's working from home. That's obviously a really big joy for us. So really appreciate your time. It's great. I hope you're not going too loopy there at home with kids everywhere and everything.
I have enough to keep me busy. There's probably a whole bunch of email now waiting for me.
Cool. All right. Thank you, sir. Really lovely to chat. Thanks, everybody. Drop us a line if you need any help anyway. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.